If you could sit down with two agents, remarkable individuals that are listing hundreds and hundreds of properties every single year and trying to crack the code on how to list even more, what questions would you ask? Well, that is what today's podcast is all about. Jamie McMartin, Katy, Texas, kind of Northwest Houston. Give people context for you, and then Jill, I'm coming to you as well. How long in the business, size of your team, how many properties will you list this year?
Okay, so Jamie McMartin from Houston. I've been in business since 2006, so right when it was really exciting to jump in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We have 34 people total on the team, 23 agents, and this year we're listing 500 listings.
Okay, so 500 listings feels like just a monster number for the person listening right now who maybe is trying to figure out how to go from 20 to 40 or someone going from 0 to 2 or 40 to 100. JB, what about you? Jill Biggs, Hoboken, New Jersey.
So, I needed Dan for that question.
I know.
As far as listings, you talked this morning about who can take 100 listings in a month.
Yeah.
Well, we had 37 listing appointments this month,
yes,
and we are leveling up the listing team. So I would vote we'll take 100 listings in a month. And what does that look like, right? It'll probably take us another 4 months to get there because we've been tightening up and training.
Yep.
I vote, I don't know, probably if you're taking 500 listings, then I've got to be taking 600 listings. Like, how's that?
Yep. Just because you're competitive.
Well, I don't want her to win, but
That's
I'm not promising a handbag. I already lost that handbag
That's okay.
before.
Now, what is remarkable is that we belong to this little community of people that actually are doing this stuff. And, today we were together with, 2,800 of our friends from around the world, South Africa and Italy and all over the United States and Canada and Mexico, et cetera. And I was making the argument that if you have 168 hours in a week, 168 hours, you're going to sleep, I hope, for 56, and you get 8 hours a good night of sleep. You got 112 hours left. And you guys heard me say repeatedly, hey, if you, in 112 hours, you can't find me 2 listing appointments. You did 37 last month. Where did the listing appointments come from to the best of your, I know, like if Dan was here, Dan's Mr. Organized and all the numbers, but like past clients, was it expired listings? Was it geographic farming? Was it online leads? Help us understand.
So the truth is, and this is where you poke the holes, right? Yeah. In the probably second week of December, decided to not be a failure. And I moved my desk to the middle of the floor with the agents because I couldn't figure out why are they not,
Yes.
Nobody's making phone calls. What the hell is going on? So
the market's falling apart. Nobody's making phone calls. You stepped up.
I just stepped up and I started calling and I started auditing leads and listening to what was the problem with the conversation and getting super real with the listing team as to how are the listings being distributed, right?
Like the listing lead opportunities?
Listing leads, because I have been doing this for a long time and I get phone calls. Right?
Inbound.
People inbound call me and ask me to list their house. So you have agents waiting for low-hanging fruit, but getting them to actually go after it and invest their time in it has changed. That our past clients, we spend a significant amount of money on internet leads.
Right.
But the truth is that
the vast majority of the listings, thank you,
in my database, and it's an amazing thing if you just literally source by people raising their hand and call, we're getting appointments. And
so you said a lot there, and I'm going to come back and I want to unpack because there was there's my past clients, but I've got online leads and I got 60,000, and I'm also auditing my sales team, which for the person listening that doesn't have a sales team, that's called auditing yourself. That means you're recording not both sides of the conversation. Be careful with that, but you're recording what are you saying, and then listening back. Right? There's all these great solutions now where you can just on Zoom, it'll just track how many times you asked a question versus made a statement, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Jamie, how many listing appointments did the team have in the month of January?
They had 28 in the month of January.
Okay.
We learned, and Jill and I have been talking about this for a couple of months now, a lot of our leads are coming from past clients and SOI. So it's about 58%. We are not good at internet leads, but we pay a lot for internet leads.
Yes.
So our month of December and January was really focused on making sure we have the right people handling the right leads and going on the right appointments.
Yes.
And our conversion rate has really gone from a 3% in one area all the way up to 10% just in 1 month by putting the right people in the right spots.
Yes.
So it's been very important for us to make sure we're doing that.
So when I hear right people, right spots, and I know you've been there too, speak to the agent that is listening right now whose head is about to pop and they're just trying to get to one listing taken a month. Not even a week, just one listing taken a month. If the two of you are sitting down right now with not somebody on your team, a solo agent somewhere in the country, and they're like, what would you recommend my day looks like and my activities look like and my marketing looks like for me to get one listing taken a month?
Before I became a team, I did my last 10 years before a team, I would do anywhere between 95 to 130 deals by myself, no assistant.
I remember.
The biggest thing that I did was treat the business like a business. Come in at 8 o'clock, I would leave till 5 o'clock, and I time blocked, called in the morning, did our power hour, and just kept calling because my life depended on it. We all have those stories, right?
And
We heard yours
I think
earlier.
that's a commonality.
Yeah.
For sure. So do they need to have their back against the wall to be a high performer? Or
No.
can they just have the ambition? And then time block hour of power, break it more down. In that hour of power, and I'm assuming you're referring to like making phone calls. Were you cold calling? Who were you calling in that hour?
I was really big into open houses. And so I would do open houses pretty much every single day for about 6 to 8 months, even during the week. I would just put my office in this vacant house and had people coming. So I collected a lot of names.
Yeah.
So I would just start calling those people round and round and round again until they were ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
I'm at 12. I want to go to 24. I've been undisciplined. It's, real estate's like grapes. I get no listings, then I get 3. Then I'm overwhelmed. Then I do nothing. Then I get them sold. And then I get 2. And then I get none done. Then I get 1. Then I get 4. And then I hit 12. How do I get consistent and get to 24, Jill?
I honestly, and it's just so simple. You have to call people, right? We do open houses. We have open house leads, like 30 of them a weekend. Those going through the leads and just calling them, re-engaging them. And I think it's amazing how many people are like the agents surrounding me while I'm sitting there. They're talking to each other. They don't know who to call.
Right.
You just have to actually call people. It's fairly easy. Something sells in a building. It's not your listing. It doesn't really matter. You call the whole building and you say, did you know your neighbor sold?
Yep.
Or like,
Hey, did you hear about your neighbor?
Yeah.
And then I think the running your business like a business, I'm so loosey-goosey and I feel loosey-goosey, but I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I show up every day and do the same thing. And and then putting a task. Every single person that you connect with, you have to put a task afterwards so that you don't forget them because you can only remember so many people.
That's right.
Right? It's a numbers game. And
Okay, let's go. Go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing that kind of sparked for me is just putting your systems in place. If I would have done that 10 years ago when I started and had that thought and said, okay, this is how I'm going to handle every open house. This is how I'm going to handle every phone call, my schedule, my listing appointments. We're doing that now. But if I would have done that 10 years ago, I mean, sky's the limit.
So I look at last year's summit. Stephanie Younger, mutual friend of all of ours, she gives us an 8 or 9 page dossier that's available on tomferry.com. You can just go download it for free. But it's everything. It's the system. It's everything before the open house. I was having a conversation with her. I forget what it was about. And she said, "No, Tom, you understand. When we do an open house, all the flags need to be lined up. It was the attention to detail."
No,
you know what I mean?
I did an open house this weekend because it was a past client of mine, and I needed it to sell so that I didn't have to deal with it again, right? So I was showing up myself, and it's been a really long time because I've taken weekends off, right?
Yes.
So
been at the beach.
I showed up, and they handed me a binder. I'm like, it was a binder, and it had every single thing you could ever need for an open house. Right. And I was like, it was as old school and stupid as that sounds. It was wonderful.
It makes it easy.
Yep.
It makes it easy.
And it gets everything out of your head so you can do something else,
and then
right?
having a system in place, every single person who came in that said they lived in the building. I got where their address was, what they lived in. I made every note, right? And then I put them in so there are people in that building so that we can set them up with a plan and follow up every time anything in the building happens, right? I might not
Absolutely.
get that listing today, but when those people list, we will touch them every time anything in the building happens and we'll get the listing back.
Right.
Jill Biggs hits my arm more than I
know.
hit people's arm
I
when I
know.
talk.
I love
I'm
it.
like, hey. And
Is this like a punch in the throat?
one of my dear friends literally like, I'll just start you this and he'll slap my hand. Okay. Running place at work. So you said systems. I interpret systems as SOPs, standard operating procedure. I interpret systems as having a checklist for the things that I do repeatedly that I don't want to have to remember how to do.
Right.
How do you two go about building those? Like what's your let's just take prepping for an open house. How do you mind map it? Do you write it on a wall? Because I think a lot, not the person listening right now, they're beyond this, but someone might get this and they're going to go, yeah, like systems, like they think it might be software, right? I think half the time it's just a freaking checklist.
Yeah.
So how do we build those?
I have a manifesto. I think you had brought that up a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So
I love that you call it a manifesto.
I do
Well,
too.
he-
It's such a great
yeah,
yes,
so-
yes. I remember that. I
Yeah.
remember those conversations.
I think it was in Nashville, but anyway, so I went and did a manifesto, and we actually revisit it every quarter
Yep.
just to make sure we haven't changed anything.
Yes.
So every department revisits their section, and that's where we put everything. So when you have an open house or a listing or a buyer presentation, everything is in there step by step. Typically, we get our leadership team that will start the document. We take it actually through all of our agents too, just to get their input and making sure we didn't miss anything. And then we put it in the manifesto for everybody to see. And in the manifesto, it actually has links to all the supporting documents and everything that you need. So
Love it.
Yeah.
So is it a like a digital inside of like Google, like
Yes.
Google Docs?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was thinking when I was thinking links versus like
Yeah.
She
maybe-
also uses
Yeah.
Trainual, and
Yes.
she and I
Yeah.
had a
Thank
whole
you.
conversation.
Yes. What is
on-
Trainual? What is the person listening? Like, what are you two talking about?
It's where your agents can go. It's like
It's an online
online
LMS, learning management system.
and
right?
every single thing, right, is in Trainual.
Mm-hmm.
So all of your checklists for everything that happens are accessible, and everything is videoed. So if you need to look at a script, you can take a look at somebody doing that, and it's it saves time. So
Right.
that you don't have to repeat yourself over and over again.
we've
Go
been
ahead.
talking a lot about transferring skills because I think we both need to do that in different aspects of our jobs. And that's to me, that's a really big place that you can transfer skills is put it in Trainual so that it's there. Everybody can view it.
And there's this today's show is not brought to you by Trainual.
Yeah.
There's many of these LMSs as are referred to, but I think what I'm hearing is going from SOP checklist to a video showing someone how, hey, this is how we use Follow Up Boss. This is how we use our CRM, whatever it may be. So there's a lot inside that. I hear that and I think, well, yeah, that's Ray Kroc. That's McDonald's. How do I have a bunch of 16-year-olds, right, able to go do all these tasks every single day and eventually robots, which will be even easier and more exciting. Sorry, 16-year-olds at McDonald's. I want to go back to that person that's doing 12 listings a year. I think the two of you are struggling with answering the question because you have... So take one agent on your team.
Okay.
Take one. I want you to get one brand new agent on your team, and I want you to help that person get 12 listings this year.
Well,
Go.
I mean,
What does that person have to do?
that person has to have conversations, right? And they honestly, it depends, I guess, on what you're doing to generate business. We're doing these seller leads, seller landing pages,
Yep.
which
Yep.
very interesting. We're getting them. They don't have any phone numbers, no email addresses, and so
1234 Banana Street. I'm interested in the value of my home. Yep.
right? Sometimes you don't even get the name; you just have the address.
Yep.
And they've been marking them
Yes.
as dead leads.
Yep.
So December, I'm there and I'm looking dead lead. So I whip out like the white pages or, Mojo or different
Any data
places,
source to
any
find
data
phone
source
numbers. Yep.
whatsoever.
Yep.
And I'm cold calling this. I got 3 listings this week, right? I met some guy on the side of the road between the Holland Tunnel, on the entrance and the exit in his tractor trailer.
Yes.
And I'm calling this
Things
guy.
you see every
so
day.
If I call somebody
In and around Manhattan
every
and
day and
Hoboken.
I say, hey, this is Jill, your realtor. Eventually, even though they hung up on me a few times, I'm Jill, their realtor. He signed $1 million, like in the car. So I'm getting my agents to think outside the box, do the work, pull up, right, do the research, and then we're helping them. I've put them together.
I want to interpret super advanced for someone maybe how they heard that. So you're saying there's opportunity everywhere, and I'll take an easy example. You go into your MLS if it can be done in your MLS, depending on like if you're in Canada,
Well,
you can't do it.
many of them have Remine, right?
Well, I'll use Canada as an example. Like in Canada, you can't necessarily market to an expired listing, but using just expireds as an example, most expireds, the phone number is removed, right? So the person that goes the extra mile to find the phone number is an infinitely better opportunity than the person that makes no phone call or just sends that person a letter. Let's say they don't have any leads, they don't have any Google, but they can do expireds or they can do open houses. I'm gonna keep pressing you two to say, help me get 12 listings. Coach me.
You can look for a certain property, right? Whatever is that you're trying to sell.
Yes.
I'll call houses in Hoboken that look old.
Yes.
And say, hey, just checking in. I'm selling the house, whatever, 2 doors down, and I wanted to know, like, what are you doing? I know you've lived there a long time.
Yeah.
Click, and then I call them again. I'm like, hi,
It's Jill, your realtor.
It's Jill, and I like
Yeah.
that. Eventually, those people like you.
Yes.
I mean, as ridiculous as it is, if you get your first, I don't know, 2 seconds down, you just have to make them like you. And then they like talking to you. Right. And then and I take very good notes. And I think that's, making those phone calls,
a secret
writing
sauce.
things down. Yeah. And then when you call them again, remembering, oh, your sister Olivia.
Right.
She doesn't want to move out of that house because she lived there for 90 years.
Right.
However, things are good. She might want to go to Florida. And I keep over, right? And that's like starting from nowhere. I got no relationship with this person.
Right.
And it wasn't like I had any contact. He didn't come to my open house. Like when I started, I got the tax records, I think, and I cold called people for no reason whatsoever.
Right.
Like around town, just to have a conversation. And I have people.
Hey, Jill Biggs, Banana Real Estate.
I'm like, hey, I was calling, just wanted to see. I know you own blah, 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 blah. How's it going?
Yes.
Like not everyone hangs up on you.
No.
And who cares when they hang up on you? You don't know them anyway.
That's
Right. Okay, that's interesting because you talk about the beginning of your career, and here we are she's doing the same thing at this stage of your career. And last year you guys sold 400 houses. And I think that's an important distinction for the person listening, that what makes people extraordinary is they do things like this.
That's right.
They have no short-term memory.
They have no short-term memory.
It's
they
like
get up every day.
Groundhog
Right.
Right.
Well, but and if you're making millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you're doing something that you genuinely care about and love, then yeah, I'm okay with falling in love with the mundane.
It also feels good.
I agree. Okay,
I think part of
Jamie?
it's like you've got to want it, first of all.
Yeah.
I wanted to win, like you.
You were
Always want to win.
hyper-competitive,
Yeah,
yeah.
always wanted to win. But if looking back at where I went from 12 to 24, I focused on different lead pillars.
Mm-hmm.
So I never was one that just did something. I did 4 or 5 different lead pillars, and I learned everything I could about the lead pillars. And that's where I would
And I
dig
think
in.
that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Right. When you ask Dan and I to speak about something, we go in a huddle and we're like, we're mediocre. We just do everything.
Yeah.
And it's not true. We're just literally ticking it off, and we kind of
You've got to be, because you're not going to be good at everything, right?
consistency.
Right. And so you
Consistency.
pick those 4 or 5 things, you go all in on those 4 or 5 things, and you go all in for a very long time and hit it hard and consistent and learn everything you can.
What do you want your team saying right now to your past clients and centers of influence to find out, are they a potential hand raiser?
Good question. I think right now what we are 58% of turning our SOI and past clients into business, right?
Yep.
We have a really strong following with that. So for us, a lot of it is just calling to see how we can be a resource to whatever stage they're at. A resource for finding vendors, a resource for a tax person, a resource for a school, whatever it may be. It's more of the just touch to make sure that they know we're here, know we're ready, and know that we're knowledgeable about the market.
I love that.
And
I mean, everybody can make those phone calls.
I also call like just regularly, but at the end, I'm always giving them a tiny bit of, they'll ask me,
For sure.
whoever spoke about
How's the market or whatever. Yep.
But, you know, if there's no inventory, it's super easy, right? If you're thinking about selling, there's no inventory right now, you would have a big bidding war. Obviously, if you have nowhere to go, we'll table that and talk about it when I call you next quarter.
Yes.
But,
yes.
you know,
Yes.
I mean.
Okay, you just mentioned something quarter. How often, big shout out to Jack Batone, who is now retired from real estate, even though he does a bunch of investments, and then he just races cars, right? Because for at least the 11 years that Jack and I worked together in Santa Monica, California, every single person in his database got a phone call every 90 days. Hey, Jack Batone, checking in. It's been 90 days. Jamie, how are you? And whatever. It was a thematic, just want to find out. Did you guys see what happened in the neighborhood? Because it was all kind of in this sort of Santa Monica marketplace, which is a big city, but like he took it on like the whole thing was his geographic farm. And this was people he met at open houses, Zillow leads that he may have bought, 40 years ago or whatever. Like it didn't matter. Every single person was in Jack's sphere, whether they met him at an open house and he met them one time, or they had bought 10 houses from him. Everybody got the call.
A lot of people if you call every 90 days.
How many real estate agents do you know that retire? How do most real estate agents retire? I have a listing. I'd like to.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, oh my God, get her leads, right? Like it's this weird, like most people don't retire from this industry. He was able to retire because he did that repetition every 90 days.
He had a database and he set a task.
He built a database and he set a task.
And he added everybody and he wasn't a secret agent.
And notes on every single person, every conversation, because whoever has the greatest memory. Jamie, when we were talking last, you had mentioned, did you guys get that done? You had asked me about a handyman. I think I referred you to, to my buddy Randy. Did just those little things make people, you're caring about them. They are the only person that matters.
I met an agent today, actually, that does 1,500 deals, and he has a person that does just that on a daily basis.
Yep.
8 hours a day, just goes through their database.
Yep.
And he says he does not pay for any leads.
Doesn't need to.
It is strictly that.
Right.
Which I thought was mind-blowing.
Which is amazing.
I know.
Right? I got one for you. So you ready? Shout out to Lisa Munoz, right, from down in Austin. So she says, Tom, I just did a podcast with her. It's going to come out, I think, next week. So sweetheart, Lisa, love you. She literally says, okay, so here's what I did. I got like 5 licensed people on my team, but I'm the only agent. But everybody can go out and show property and do all the things they got to do, but I'm the only agent. So that's her model right now, right? And she's scaling up. She has 1,200 people in her database. 900 of them are past clients.
Wow.
Everybody gets contacted by a new role that she added in the last 12 months. The job description is Care Bear. Remember the Care Bears? Right?
Yeah.
Splash you with my heart of whatever Hooby-Doo cartoon character. And Care Bear, all she does is just reach out to hey, Jill, just checking in. How's it going? And just looking in the notes, having conversations. They had 170 inbound referrals last year and closed like 97 of them.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of bananas. Now, she is like you. She is a veteran. So maybe the new person listening is like, how do I start that? Well, you take the 28 people in your phone and you don't call them every 90 days and say, who do you know that wants to buy and sell real estate?
The other thing is when I started, I joined things. Well, I made my kids go to 4 different schools just so I could have a bigger, network.
A bigger sphere. I love it. Yes.
And that, and that was okay.
Was that intentional?
Yes. And I even moved them.
Yes.
Oh, we're done with that school. You could go
I've sold everyone
here.
a house in that school.
I love that.
Let's go to a new
I
one.
bought a house in the next town so I could send them and get that school.
Yes.
So that
you put your
worked.
mother over there, but you lived over here. I know how you were. Yeah.
Like I think that, and then with my team, I made them join different things.
I think that's a simple tactic. Now there is you join something. If you show up and you're that guy or that gal, it's like, here's my card and I work by referral.
Oh, no, yeah, you
like,
don't do that.
I think people miss just the subtle art of, hi, how are you? How did you get to be a part of this group? What do you do for a living? Tell me more about that.
That's right.
Oh my God, hey, have you met Jill yet? You guys would really get along. And being that person, which by the way, is all scripted. It's all practice. I do it in every room I go to. No one knows what I do until finally someone says, who's that guy that just introduces to everybody? Is he the mayor? Oh no, it's Tom. He lives in the building. Oh, what's he do? Right? Like,
Yeah,
You're great at that.
He makes
yeah.
connections.
It's one of my. It's like my like. I have a memory and I remember a lot of people, but I love to connect. Jamie, you got to meet this person. And I think if people can just take a little bit of that and do that in your community amongst your sphere, that's why having parties are fun and social events and being that connector that everybody's like that guy over there, Kirk Kessel, is the mayor of his town. Everybody knows him.
I can see that.
Forever. And he does the same thing. Oh my God, Courtney, you got to meet this. And that's a secret
But
sauce.
nobody wants to be sold anything.
Yeah.
I am that person who, if you come to help me,
Yep.
I'm an easy sell. When I want to buy something, I will walk in,
Bam.
right?
Yep.
But if you come in and you chase me,
Hard charging.
I will leave.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
the
And don't you
recording,
think most
even
people feel the same way?
Absolutely.
yeah, I think so.
yeah.
That recording of
Yep.
phone calls, even recording yourself,
Yes.
forget recording others.
Yeah,
recording
don't record the other people.
No, but even
Fairy
listening
dictates.
to your own phone calls, you can
Yes.
see where's the disconnect? Where did I lose that? What did
Mm-hmm.
how could I have done that better? And then correct, right? Because
Right.
there is,
Right.
if you're following a transaction the whole way through, and you're having problems with conversion, there's a breakage.
Find
and so,
the breakage.
right?
How many times have we had
Yeah.
that to find
Lots
the
of them.
breakage
Yeah.
in the
It's-
transaction and make that part better?
It's about the relationship
Yeah.
building, though.
Yeah.
Like even just the connections between you and I, between clients. If you're not making it trying to sell somebody, it's
Right.
just a genuine connection.
And it's being able to do it at scale. And again, I'm going to go back to, and you said it, is put them in the CRM, take good notes, and set up a task every 90 days.
Yep.
If the person listening right now just takes the 97, 242, 83, whatever, 5,000 people in their database, and they just do that once a quarter, it's just Tom Ferry, favorite realtor, checking in.
Yeah.
How's it going, Jill?
Yep.
Did you see the sale that just happened down the street? Jamie, did you find out about? I just wanted to make sure, hey, congrats, your home value probably just went up based on that last transaction. I mean, my goodness, you know what? I said this to an audience recently. I said, my dentist calls me every 6 months.
Yep.
And I think it's because she wants a new Porsche, right? She's like, hey, it's time for you to get in here. Like she's called, you need a cleaning, you need this, you need that, right? But every 6 months, my dentist calls me and says, come get a check-in, da-da-da-da-da-da. My financial planner calls me every month, not to make an offer or tell me to buy something, but he's like, how are you and Kath? What's going on? And every now and then I'm like, well, Keith, is there anything that we should be? Oh, well, there is something that came across my desk. And this guy manages, I'm a peon in his world. But there is just something to the repetitive. How else do we build relationships?
You have to stay top of mind.
Right.
And I think we all forget that. It
Yeah.
happens it doesn't matter. I've had people list with other, it kills me.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I think part of it's scaling it too, right? Like when you're starting out, you don't have a lot of people, you should be making the call. And then when you get to a point where you have a huge database, then you just scale that up.
Right.
With this client care bearer or
Care
whatever.
Bear, ISAs,
Yeah.
a client care team.
Right.
A client care team could be the most interesting thing for people like us to look at and say, what if I just had a group, like Lindsay on my team does this for a lot of our clients. She's just reached out. How's it going? Do you get set for Cabo yet? What are you doing? Having someone on your, and that may sound crazy for the person listening. I'm still trying to get to the 12 listings or 24 listings. But I think it's the approach of making every single person feel super special and then doing it at scale.
Yep.
Right. Well,
And
you
there-
build up to it.
And then 10 become 100, become 500, become 1,000. And then, of course, you're going to add and add and add to support that. But that's what we're talking about.
Yep.
All right. Closing thoughts. 500 listings, 600 listings. I think there should be a serious bet.
Because we were on our way up here trying to break down the training
Yes.
process.
Uh-huh.
What are the holes? And we both have great transaction management and
Right.
lists and all
Right.
of that.
Right.
But the training, right?
The
and where
development
we're,
of salespeople that
Yeah,
can actually
it's-
go list on your behalf.
and
Right.
and
Okay,
letting
we're not
go,
ending the podcast. Let's talk about
Right.
that. So what did you come up with? What do they have to do?
So that's where it's very hard because we're both controlling. I
Yes,
didn't hit you.
I
I
know.
held back.
I
didn't
know,
hit
you were
down
ready.
about it,
You were
but I was
ready.
thinking
Yes.
about it.
Yes.
But I have a lot of trouble with that.
I
Right?
know.
You asked me where
Yep.
the listings came
Yep.
from, and I got to get over myself. Right? It's not that easy to transfer skills, but breaking everything down, and now I've made partnerships with my agents so that if somebody is an area specialist,
Right.
they're going
That's an
and they're
easy
taking
way.
a junior agent, right? And
Yep.
we're
Tag teaming.
just
Yeah.
so that they have a
Confidence.
better shot at,
And I think
Okay,
what
go.
to add to that, what's been helpful for us at least is that we're sharing stuff, and so I think we're a lot of alike in a lot of ways and different in a lot of ways. But so we're both sharing all of our information back and forth. To
Oh, I think
critique.
you should mention, right?
Yeah.
The biggest thing, we're those people that we're exposed to here, right? We don't get to meet people like that. Like I'm a
True.
lunatic in my own world, so
Right.
working all the time, I don't necessarily, short of going out and being nice to people,
Right.
I don't really have conversations like this.
About how
So-
to list 1,200 homes a year.
No,
Right.
but we're
Right.
as a group, a bunch of us will send each other what's working.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Sharing
don't
our
think
train
Stephanie
rolls, yeah.
didn't have that nice mailing and that we didn't do it and it's not being launched now and
yeah.
that she's not launching hers in
Right.
2 weeks and then we're not exchanging this because all of these things cost a lot of money,
Yes.
but they don't necessarily have to be done over. Like we can copy each other. It's a wonderful thing.
and then get the
R&D.
SOPs together. So
Right.
we're talking about our SOPs and
Yeah.
making sure what's not working. So
Yeah.
It's so interesting too. I had a client who said, I did that same exact mailer that we talked about at the summit, the QR code, curious about the value of your home. And then what we came up with last night in the mastermind, I think there's going to be some new variations to get a lot of hand raisers. Well, Steph's got 500 people that raised their hand and filled out a full form fill out that are curious about the value of their home. I mean, that's bananas. And then I had a client say to me recently, hey, I did that mailer. I sent it to 10,000 people and I didn't get any listings. And I was like, oh, well, where did the leads go?
Yeah.
I sent them directly to HomeBot. I was like, oh,
it's
That
the
didn't
system
work.
behind. Yeah.
so it's not HomeBot. You want them to fill out a form. You get the form. You're now reaching out. You made them sign up for a system that they didn't want. They just want to know the value of their home.
That's right.
And like just like the subtle difference between what looked like a good idea, but he didn't get to bounce it off a couple other people that have already done it
Right.
and had the experience. And said,
Right.
ooh, don't do that. No. Just have them fill out a basic landing page, get their name and information, and then you will immediately send them a video afterwards that says, hey, thank you so much, or whatever the process is. And now if he's listening right now, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's like, yeah, it wasn't the mailer. The mailer worked, but the system behind it
That's
that
exactly
he was running, that play
But
didn't
you
work.
don't know what you don't know.
You
That's
don't know
right.
what you don't know.
Until you spend that money.
And it is
Right.
so nice when you have people that will share so that you can learn from their mistakes, get a leg up, and hopefully not burn money.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes.
It's been
yes,
it's been very helpful. Yeah.
If you're anything like me,
Impactful.
you do not like to lose money.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, or
Exactly.
waste money. Okay, so we got to end the show. Ladies, if they've got a question, cell phone, email, how do they reach you? That someone is going to go, I'm really resonating with, I want to understand more. Where do they reach you?
DM, Instagram probably be the best at the Jamie McMartin group.
The Jamie McMartin.
And Jamie
Group.
is JAMIE.
Yes.
I think y'all spell it wrong sometimes.
sorry.
It's
It's
okay.
100%
It's
me.
okay.
Yeah.
But the Jamie McMartin group.
I don't
Courtney,
spell
it's
it
your
wrong.
fault. Courtney's fault.
right.
Okay, and if they want to get you,
So for me, it's 973-495-6038. That's my my cell. If you shoot me a text, it zaps over to my other cell,
One of
but
your
we'll
cells,
definitely
yeah.
get it. And
hey, I
you
got a
know.
question, Jill. How do I learn?
or
yada, yada,
like
yada.
both of our names are everywhere. If you send me a message, somebody will answer you and connect you so that I
We're happy to help.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
Happy
All
to
right.
help.
I appreciate you both. Let's go have some fun. I think there's an event happening downstairs we should all participate in. Thank you for jumping in and listening. I've been probably in this set multiple times now. We've been together in Las Vegas with about 2,800 of our friends from around the world, just having these conversations about more conversations, more appointments, doing the things that give us the power, put it inside the checklist, follow up. And you know what? This stuff isn't basic. This is advanced. Because if it was basic, everybody would do it. And since nobody is doing it at scale except for these wonderful people, it's advanced. So choose to be advanced. Thanks for watching.